You ready?
Yeah.
Ooh! Oh. We don't even get to celebrate the 21. Motherfucker. This
Can't drink.
damn contract blows.
All right, you ready? We gonna start? We going live?
We're ready.
This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned in to episode 21 of The Real Word.
I love being drinking age.
When you can't drink?
It's only for 21 more days.
21
I think it's
more
actually
days.
21 more days.
Yeah, you're right.
21 more days. We got 21 more days of no drinking.
We did a 30-day no drinking thing. How's it been for you? How do you feel about it? Do you feel different? Do you have more energy?
I feel awesome.
How much were you consuming before?
Ooh, that I don't even know.
Gallons.
That's not true.
No, definitely not true.
You were probably consuming gallons with me. It's good.
That's not true.
I was actually discussing it with my husband a little bit, and he was sort of making fun of me. But it's like just forming new habits, right? There's certain restaurants that I walk into, and they're like, Nicole. Like I go to Mr. J's every Monday, and they're like, Nicole.
And your drink's already there.
You want your flirtini? And I have to break her heart that like I don't want it. And she's probably like, oh great, now my tip is going to be less because she's not drinking 4 cocktails. I mean, my bill. I mean, I'm saving
some dough,
substantial amounts of money.
Yeah, for me it was like mind over matters, being able to do it for 30 days. In this business, there's so many like drink meetups and a networking event. And it's just like there's a lot of alcohol involved in this business.
Well, so my biggest problem has always been though, you tell me that I'm on a diet and I all of a sudden want what I can't have. So I mean, like I don't eat cake, but if I'm telling myself that I'm on a diet, I'll definitely want cake, right? So I think that's the problem though too. It's good though. I can't decide if like my body is like adjusting to like allergies so like I've been a little sleepy. Like in the morning I'm like ripping myself out of bed. I'm blaming allergies on that one.
Not the alcohol or the lack of.
No, it's great though. It's going very well.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm getting some laundry folded at night, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, but
that's what was falling behind.
Oh.
Was the laundry.
Lots of things were being fallen behind, but.
All right, well, there's a lot of alcohol in this business, and maybe that's because Zillow is just stressing everybody the fuck out, making people bonkers.
Bonkers.
Right?
Yeah.
So Zillow, let's talk about this. This is big news this week. We actually have
what's the headline?
Big real estate
read
news.
The headline so know what we're talking about.
The headline. You want the actual headline?
Well, yeah, so that they know what we're talking about.
The headline is, this is the Wall Street Journal headline. Zillow, this is a pretty... like in your face headline because flip's like a word that everybody pays attention to.
Of course, they're good at,
Zillow intends to buy and flip homes.
Yeah, so we were lucky enough on Friday. Maybe you can talk about your 5amcall.com. But on Friday, you actually had
plugging me right there.
You plug me. So you had someone from Zillow on there on Friday. Was it Friday? That was Friday.
Yeah, we had on Friday.
He was actually sort of talking a little bit about this.
What's his name?
To
Schwartz.
Everybody.
What's his name? Greg. Shoot, I forget his name. Well, the CEO was on.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Right.
That was Spencer Raskoff.
Was that Wednesday? No. That was like before. Thursday or Friday. No, it was just this past week.
Right. But I'm talking about, we've had 2 Zillow people
Oh, yeah. But just this past week, you had somebody from Zillow talking about this new sort of mix-up that not mix-up, but is it a mix-up?
I always forget his name. He's like the COO or something.
So, you're looking for it?
That's okay.
Well,
go ahead.
You're wasting some time looking for it.
You go ahead.
So, yeah, he was actually talking about how Zillow is going to be doing the instant offers. He actually was brilliant in making everybody on there, well, not making people, but presenting it in a way that it sounded like it was a seller lead, which I'm certain that it will become a seller lead. Actually, I think Realtor.com has been doing it forever. Do you want to know like the value of your home? Like click here, and obviously it goes to an agent.
It's Greg Gurowitz.
He was talking about the fact that you can, on Zillow, you can go on there, you can look for an instant offer, get an offer from Zillow, and then you can also then at the same time be getting a CMA from an agent. So you can see maybe which stick is better. Is it better to go with the agent or is it better to go with Zillow? As you read into this article, Zillow's actually going to be starting to purchase properties in Vegas, Las Vegas, and in Phoenix.
Greg Schwartz. Who wrote that? It's Greg Schwartz. I had the name right.
Okay.
Right, go ahead.
And they're going to be buying them. It sounds like a lot, maybe 1,000 properties. Do you mind just flicking back to that Wall Street Journal article?
Yeah.
It gives a specific amount of how many they wanted to buy, but they're going to be holding probably almost $200 million worth of inventory.
The company
Las
initially
Vegas,
plans
Phoenix.
to hold 300 to 1,000 homes by the end of this year. So yeah, Las Vegas,
It just
Phoenix.
says by the end of the
By the end of the year.
Oh, you're not a Wall Street Journal owner. By the end of the
it's the pop-up is blocking. It's by the end of the year because I could read the article for free on my phone.
And they're going to be holding them for 90 days, fixing them up, and then selling them.
These goddamn newspapers really just piss me off with this crap.
Right? And then people want to advertise on the Wall Street Journal. It's like, that's a waste of money. That's the racket.
That's right. But no, it is 300 to 1,000 by the end of the year.
Yeah, it was like the article I was reading, I actually was able to see numbers.
But it's just Vegas and Phoenix
right now
to start.
Yeah.
So they've tested out, if you're not familiar, they've tested out their instant offers platform, which was 3 offers to the seller. They would also get a CMA from a premier agent. So they'd have the 3 offers, they'd have the CMA from a premier agent. Now, if they turn down the offers, they would likely, and somebody from Zillow was just at the T3 Summit last week, said that 90% of the time, the people that receive Zillow instant offers, 90% of them ended up contacting an agent. And overwhelmingly, they mostly worked with those
right. So it was
Zillow
generating. It was generating.
So it was generating
seller
a
leads.
ton of seller listings
right.
because here's the point: whether it's Zillow buying the house, whether it's Open Door, which this is very
similar.
And Open Door welcomes them. Open Door is smart by saying, "Hey, come on in, Zillow. We're like, come on in. We enjoy the competition." Because they know that this space is only growing. The awareness around, say you're somebody selling your family's estate, and we see it all the time, right? I'm going to sell this estate property, and I've got 2 other, brothers and siblings. None of us live here. None of us use the property. Have no use for the property. Just want a quick sale,
right?
So we can move on with our lives. This is tragic enough. Whatever happened, right?
Right.
And
or I don't talk to my brother. I don't talk to my sister.
There's animosity. Whatever.
I feel like you're higher than me. I'm just gonna.
Well, it's the is anarchy the word?
Anarchy?
Hierarchy.
Woo! Woo!
But no, so they would likely have sold those properties. There you go. Now we're talking. They would have likely sold those properties to maybe a local investor, right? Or any type of investor. Well, now they could literally just go on, if they're, in Vegas or Phoenix in the short term, but certainly this is going to scale out nationwide at some point. They could click a button and receive an offer from Zillow, and they can take it or not, but they're going to get a CMA from an actual agent. At least there'll be
a little bit more competition so that they're not just feeling like, because there's so many times too, because I work with investors, I mean, you do too. I'm certain, because there's been a few times where agents came back and they're always like, oh man, like, now that what your flipper sold it for, like my people are kind of angry at me because they think that like I maybe could have gotten them some more. So this actually like eliminates all of that too.
Right.
Like go on to Zillow, see what Zillow will give you, and like hopefully we still win, But
what I like about, and everyone wants to talk trash on Zillow. What I like is they're actually 100% committed to using agents when they buy these properties and they flip them back onto the market and sell them.
Right.
Where Open Door is just buying the properties and they're using their in-house team to sell these properties. They're not using agents.
Agreed. Well, and I like to think that the reason that Zillow is so loyal to us agents is because
so loyal. Wow. Well, that might go a little far.
Well, but I'm just saying. So you put a photo up again from your thing about how much money Zillow's wealthier than pretty much all the real estate companies combined, and that's because of agents. Agents are the ones that are giving them money.
I'm going to send you this photo, Sam.
Why are they gonna screw with that? We keep giving them money. They keep on becoming richer and richer and richer. Like, so why wouldn't they stay loyal to us? This is
interesting. It's going to be tough to see because I took a screenshot. I was at the T3 Summit.
And it was like no social media allowed.
You had to sneak these in. Stefan was like, no social media. So I was like, okay.
Stefan
Swanepoel.
Stefan.
A lot of you peeps know who Stefan is, obviously.
Stefan.
All right, so Zillow's market cap right now is $10.5 billion.
Right.
That would, when you look at the right side, and hope Sam will have this chart up here and maybe zoom in. It's kind of off, but
super. I mean, we got a
little
great
blurry,
shot of the guy's
back of the head.
I mean,
but anyways, Realogy is worth $3.5 billion. Remax $1 billion. Keller Williams $1.6 billion. Let me just be clear. Keller Williams is not publicly traded, so we don't know if that 1.6. Stefan thinks he was generous in guessing that they're worth about 1.5 billion. So maybe they're only worth $1 billion, right? But let's just give them the benefit of the doubt.
And again, to people that aren't agents,
that's Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Sotheby's.
Yeah.
Those are all the companies that are associated with Realogy. They total $3.5 billion. Home Services, you may know them as Berkshire Hathaway, $2.5 billion. And then you have a whole bunch of these other ones underneath here. You've got Weicker mixed into the group. Some of these ones that I can't see, you have
Douglas Elliman, I can see in there.
You have Douglas Elliman. You have a lot of different companies. It gets a little blurry because of the way I took the shot.
All of them combined.
What we're saying is the top, whether they're the top 20 or they're not, you take 20 of the biggest brokerages that you know of, and you combine them all, and they're worth just as much as Zillow. Zillow, Open Door, Redfin, and Purple Bricks. These companies have a ton of private money coming into the market, much bigger than more money than these brokerages have to work with, more capital. They're going to make some shifts.
There's going to be some crazy shifts.
What I do know, when circling all the way back to Zillow buying homes, it's going to impact investors for sure. It's going to have an impact on some commission compression to some degree because Zillow hasn't said what they're going to offer.
You've been talking about commission compression for a long time
because it's happening in other markets already, and it's going to happen, across the board. But if you look at Zillow, okay, maybe they're going to give 2.5% for a listing agent. Let's just throw that out there. Maybe they are. But what are they charging you up front to be in that program?
Right.
So there's commission compression right there.
Right.
If you're paying $2,000 a month to be in this program.
I'm certain that the premier agent will have to pay more money to be on the seller side at this point too, because what they're also stating is that Zillow then goes to one of the premier agents to then list the home.
Exactly.
So that premier agent's going to be definitely like putting down some crazy dough if they know that Zillow. It's like aligning with a bank really for like all those short sales and stuff. I mean,
so ultimately when this scales out, we're talking 2018 right now, we're talking 2 markets. When this is in every market in the country in 5 years, right? When it's 2023 and this is available to every single home seller. Okay, I can get an instant offer from Zillow, which is going to be a discount offer. There's going to be a majority, some people are going to take that. Not everybody's going to sell their house at a discount. Most people are going to want to maximize and pay a commission.
Right.
But the people that do take that, you're going to see less deals in the marketplace because historically, even on an investor deal, there might have been a listing agent and a buyer agent both involved. If Zillow's buying the property, there's no buyer agent involved.
Right.
So there's a side of a transaction that we lose as an industry. There could be less transactions. There'll certainly be commission compression. But what you'll ultimately see with this is less deals for investors to pick through on these single-family homes. Because not only do you have this happen in single-family homes, but you finally have big Wall Street companies buying up swaths of single-family homes and renting them. So you have that too, right?
Yeah.
That's coming out of that investor market.
It's all very interesting.
Reason why this wasn't in the Racket round is because it's not a racket. This is just life in real estate. This is just happening. So
we do have a few rackets though that are good.
The best racket. We're gonna jump right into it.
We're not like. Didn't we do a break in between last time?
No break. Catch your breath.
Here.
Get your breath. You got your breath?
I'm good.
All right. No, we're not taking a break on this one.
Okay. No. Well,
this came out like after.
Last week we talked about the fact that our NAR dues went up, and I tell you, their ears must have been ringing because not more than probably 3 hours after we filmed The Real Word, boom, they release the NAR flipping logo, the new realtor logo.
NAR spends $250,000 on a new logo.
And then they want to up our dues.
So we were talking about upping the dues.
Holy shit.
$30, which I said
I would have paid them like, I don't know, I would have charged them.
There's a lot of things here, so let's break this down
Go
a little
ahead,
bit.
do it.
Break it down into racket. Where's our racket, by the way? We had a racket here.
We had a racket.
Let's break this thing down a little bit. So they spend $250,000 on a logo. They say, okay, obviously $250,000 wasn't all put into the design. They say there was a ton of feedback that they took into consideration. They hosted a bunch of interviews with people in the industry about what they felt the vision for NAR should be. Right. This all went into the $250,000. They spent it. They rolled out a new logo. So
if you guys haven't seen it, we are posting it here. It's quite a lovely little video.
We're posting it right now. Yeah. Now the CEO took a lot of heat on Facebook.
Oh, it was lovely. I mean, he was even like, although he was super kind about it, and he was thrilled that people were actually finally sort of speaking their mind, because it sounds like it's kind of hard to
It was
get.
funny. When I was at T3, the president of National Association of Realtors, she spoke for a little bit, and she said, we've been trying to engage the real estate community with NAR for so long, and I guess this is the way to do it.
Yeah,
right?
Really.
And
so maybe it's just maybe they're gonna come out and say, you know what, that was a joke.
But
Here's
no.
the real logo.
Here's the real Racket. Not that we spent $250,000 on a logo. That's a Racket.
Super duper Racket.
Because the logo sucked.
It was pretty much the same thing. It was just a flippin' cube.
Yeah.
They turned it from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional.
But here's the real Racket.
Hello.
Do you know the real Racket?
Go ahead.
After halting new logo rollout, where does NAR go from here? Hello? Wait a minute. We're halting the new logo rollout that we just spent $250,000 on?
We just rolled it out, though. Like, you introduced it. You've rolled it out.
So
the rollout is complete.
Here's the problem. And I'm a NAR member. You're a NAR member. We pay NAR money. I don't know if I'm even allowed to say bad things about NAR, but I'm going to do it anyway. They don't know what their purpose is, and they can't articulate that with consumers or with agents. That's the problem. They don't know their purpose. And she was very sweet, the president of NAR. I listened to her entire talk at T3. She went a number of different directions. Not her fault. This has been inbred in the NAR mentality for so long. Are we a technology company? Are we protecting consumers? Are we here to fight new laws that
right.
go? Are we here to protect the agents? What are we? I'll tell you what we're not. We're not a tech company. We're not a software company. Stop spending our money there.
Yeah.
Yes, should we be involved and have lobbyists in D.C. and in our local governments? 100%. We should be protecting consumers that way. The other thing we should be focused on, which we're not, right, because we leave it up to the states, is how are people licensed? How are how's the continuing ed
right.
done? And how much money are we spending, right?
It's a hard one, though, because then there's like boards within the states that are.
I actually think the NAR dues should be, never mind $30 raised, they should be $3,000.
So that people don't get in it. See ya. Get the fuck out. If you can't afford it, get out.
Here's the thing, right? There's a lot of people, and we're going to talk on the next Racket a little bit about like the value of it. There's a lot of people that are questioning some of. I sat down with a former CEO of Realtor.com a couple days ago at this summit, and he said what he said to me was everything agents have been trained over the years to say is in their self-interest.
Right.
And to untrain everybody is almost impossible, which why he believes massive like shifts are going to hit this industry and basically gut it. I mean, you talk to him, he was really on the spectrum of, Open Door and Redfin and Traola and Purple Bricks and these types of companies, because buyers and sellers are questioning the value that most agents have, because you have a lot of people in this business as an afterthought, not treating it as a business, doing 4 deals a year. If you were going in for surgery, would you go in for somebody, surgery on your body that's done it 4 times a year, or would you, right? And so there's a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah, we are talking about the NAR logo.
We are talking about the NAR logo, which is a major racket.
We have lots to say today.
The point of it is, NAR, you've got bigger stuff to worry about. Right? And I mean, certainly we do too. We're sitting here talking about a logo, but to me, it just opens up
I think we actually texted quite a bit that day about that.
So many people. But here's what's scary about NAR too, is it only took a couple hundred Facebook comments for you to like reverse what you're doing. Like, do you guys have any plan of what you're doing?
I know. Follow through.
Like,
it's done. On to the next.
You take a little bit of flack
and
from
let's wake up. It's Friday. On to the next
agents
day.
like me tweeting, and you pull it off.
Tweeting? You tweeting?
I was tweeting at them.
Tweeting. What a racket. All right, on to the next.
All right, the
falls asleep.
Next Racket, buyer agent commissions, negotiating those commissions directly with the buyer.
That was Inman.
That was Inman. So essentially what they're saying is, should a buyer's agent negotiate their commission directly with a buyer? Racket or not a racket? You can only give me one. Is it a racket?
Good one. So I feel like
what if a buyer had to negotiate their own commission?
We still haven't really defined what the racket is. Does the racket mean like this is a racket, like this is ridiculous, like I don't agree with it, or like this is a racket, like woo woo, like woo woo, like
racket meaning ridiculous?
Oh, I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
You think buyer agents should have to do it?
Well, so I guess we should be very clear, because this article was talking about the fact that the buyer's agent would have to negotiate their commission with the buyer. Because I was originally reading it thinking that the buyer's agent would have to actually negotiate it with the listing agent, which that would be a ball of fun.
That would be a racket, fun racket. Absolutely.
I mean, there's been a few times where I've like split the commissions a little bit differently because of like referrals, and then like agents call up and are like, why'd you? And I'm like, well, I negotiated my end. Like, I think it would be super interesting if the buyer's agent had to actually negotiate with the listing agent on that. In all honesty, I don't even know what would happen there, because I feel like that would almost be like a dual agency situation.
You're not going to be able to negotiate. You never get anything done. You get two agents that are like
that would be so
fighting over who gets what.
funny.
I did this. You didn't even show up to the house and unlock the door. That would be crazy.
Yeah. Anyway.
This is what's going to happen with that is.
Well, it's all going to come down to the commission, like you're talking about the commission compression.
Yeah.
Like everything is going to shift, and I'm certain that.
Well, can I talk more about T3 real quick? I'm going to do it anyway.
I know you are.
At the summit, T360 summit, they had a panel of really young CEOs, and one of them was actually like the VP of Planomatic. Shout out to my boy Aaron Ross. Anyway, Rose. Sorry,
Ooh.
Ross. Whoa. So Aaron said. He's a millennial, and he's on a different side of the business. He's on a marketing side in real estate. So as a consumer, they asked him, what do you want out of your agent? And he very eloquently and specifically said, I want to know exactly what an agent is going to do for me from start to finish before I would hire one, or I would just go to the listing agents. So this isn't even like, they weren't even getting into buyer agent commissions, but what do you expect from your agent when you're searching homes? I want to know exactly what they're doing, because as a millennial buyer, what he's saying is, one, we want to know the steps, everything you're doing for us, so I know what that value trade-off is. But the other thing is they just don't.
Well, right now it's not a huge value trade-off for them. It's not like they're paying for the agent.
They're not paying for the agent, but just to even be working with an agent and sign with an agent, they're like, okay, well, what are you doing for me?
Right.
You're certainly going to profit from this venture.
Right.
What am I getting out of it? What's my value back? They don't understand what their value back is. And part of the reason is nobody explains it to them.
Right.
Nobody gives them a timeline of what's actually going to happen.
Okay.
And they just don't know. So I think that's really interesting, because if you feel like as a buyer you're getting no value, or you're putting together, like he said it, he goes, my wife put together like all of the searches, everything that we wanted to see. Like she put together the list. We had everything. We had searches and pings set up on Realtor, on Zillow, on Trulia, on everything, right?
Everybody does.
So they put together all their properties, and some people feel like they're sending the list of the properties, and that agent's just meeting them, showing them around, opening the door. Now, what they don't understand is once they get under contract, how much work that agent or the transaction coordinator does from start to finish, right? And they probably learn that throughout the process, whether it's a good experience or a bad experience. Well, I guess
the interesting thing though too is that if the buyer's agent is really that good, the buyers won't even know the amount of work that's going on, because like that's our job though too, is to sort of like brunt a lot of the work, right? And to like take on all of that. So if that agent is really good, that buyer should actually never even know what that agent is doing. So I mean, not to say that they shouldn't disclose and be open, but like if they're doing their job properly, the contract is getting to the attorney or what have you, without them having to know. They're just like, oh, cool, my attorney has it already, Do
you know what the average commission is in like Europe?
The average commission, like
real estate
dollar,
commission?
like you bring
like
home,
percent wise.
What in Europe? Like a listing,
like a listing or a buyer, right?
So we're talking about in half. Like we're talking about
it's like 1%. It's like 1% for a side, yeah. Okay. And that's what would ultimately happen if buyer agents were negotiating their own commission. Buyers would go directly to the listing agent,
right?
Or the buyer agents would go down to about a percent, in my opinion. And that's not a racket. I think that's just what ultimately the market would take over. And there's a lot of buyer agents that don't understand their value prop. Even if they have one, they don't know how to articulate that. And ultimately, that would come out of their pocket. If you can't articulate value, you can't show value, the consumer is not going to pay you the money, right? They're just not going to give you a big commission. You just don't get 3%, 2%, 5%, whatever you get, commissions for opening doors, right?
Well, because
Open-Door could do that. All right, what's the next racket?
I don't know.
Does that stress you out?
I'm not stressed out.
This is the face right here. If you're watching, it was
going to be a little bit more swingy today. It's like so much about like Byron.
About me?
You just like,
what do you got? What do you got?
You like to.
This is the face of a scared realtor right here.
Scared realtor? That's not true. I just so obviously it'll change lots of things though, and if you're going to give me a minute here, because again, like if you're back to the whole like original thing we were talking about investors. I mean, we help our investors purchase these properties before they then flip them to then sell. I mean, even if you're a big listing agent, I help him buy.
You do.
Yes.
There's a lot of investors, obviously,
that go right to listing agents.
100%.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, but in some situations, but a lot of investors like rely on their agents to buy properties. So like my investor relies on me to sort of scour the MLS and see if I can find anything and then send them along. So I mean, if that investor is on like a bidding war and he's certainly not going to be paying you. So like I mean you lose. There's going to be some loss,
especially because in that scenario it's like, okay, I'll negotiate you down to 0% on the buy side.
Because you're going to get it on the other side.
You're going to get the listing.
Yeah.
And then maybe you could pick up the buyer there.
Yeah.
And then just maybe, I'll do another deal with you.
Maybe, if you're good. Just maybe.
All right, racket, the next racket, third racket, final racket. How would you feel living with strangers? Like in your living room, in your kitchen, you walk out, you're thinking you're going to get a bowl of ice cream, and somebody's
dorm life.
Somebody's like eating on your ice cream. What's the ice cream with the pink and the white and the chocolate?
Yeah.
Like you were saving the strawberry.
Isn't it Cosmopolitan or something?
You were saving the strawberry for yourself, but somebody else just took a big scoop of your strawberry.
All right, so where'd you find this article?
It's GQ.
On GQ, the article was about actually, I will link it up here because it's actually very eloquently written. It's making those poor people that are looking at Instagram feeling really sorry for themselves. They're really trying to pull on their heartstrings to make them believe that they need to live in these communal living homes.
Here it is. Here's how they start the article.
I don't know. It's a flipping racket. Like we were talking, like, do you put like a sock on your door? Like, what if then someone's just renting a room just to like bring like the whole thing? It's like, and then you got to put like flops on to take a shower. Like I like taking a shower with my flops off. Like I did flops in college.
All right. So this is how the guy starts the article. Do you ever get the feeling that you're just slightly more alone than everyone else? Like when you're scrolling through Instagram and you get that sinking sensation that you're missing out on some kind of deep human fulfillment. I feel
like I'm doing that now. Like I feel like I'm going through, and I've got 4 bodies that live in my home.
It's not a specific pang of FOMO. It's a broader suspicion that your social life would be somehow richer, more populated with actual humans, with fewer nights eating takeout and watching Netflix, if only something changed. So they're basically...
He clearly owns a home that he's
looking for. The dude that wrote
roommates.
this article is questionable at best with his mindset.
What's his name? Oh, Benji.
Poor Benji. I hope he's not licking a tree somewhere right now as we speak. Yeah, absolutely. I think this is crazy talk. I think it's a total racket. I don't think this is going to get many legs at all. I think it's basically a glorified Airbnb, like dorm style.
People do rent rooms and things.
They rent rooms, but like these prices are not cheap. Look how fancy that is.
Oh,
they were talking about $3,000 in a monthly rent somewhere.
Okay, so you're getting
Oh no, these are fancy places that they've done up like a WeWork space. This is WeLive space. So think WeWork. It's fancy. You're gonna go in there with a suitcase.
Have you ever watched the movie Why Him?
No.
Oh my God. So awesome. He runs like a tech company. He did some, anyway, I'm slaughtering it. But all of his employees like live at his house. So like he's showing like his girlfriend's like parents around. There's just like people like roaming all around because like,
but that's like a mini family, right? They're all in the same company.
Well, yeah. Well, they're all trying to like.
These are people that like you're just moving in with. Like,
see,
what's the rules?
Show me the photos. That's
like, are you allowed to date within the thing?
But wait,
there?
Are those like DVDs they have on the shelf there? Like they're sharing all that stuff.
Well, they're sharing everything. Everything's shared. When I go home,
You want to be alone. You want to be alone.
I don't want to. This is like my time to like
be alone. You
get
want to
away.
You want to look at Instagram and feel lonely and
I don't
eat
feel
ice
lonely
cream
when
by
I look at Instagram.
yourself
People that want to blame technology for Instagram making them lonely.
That's the racket.
That's the bigger racket. You have a problem.
Turn it off.
You have the problem. It's not technology's problem that you feel lonely.
So maybe it's not the living.
Maybe
Maybe it's the article. Maybe he should be, maybe Benji needs to go. Oh, Benj.
No, I mean,
it was a good attempt.
He did a good job on the article.
Well, but I feel like it makes you not like, I don't want to be part of the communal area because now like I don't look through Instagram and want to like feel lonely, you know? No? Anyway.
No, I'm not feeling lonely. I think
I'm definitely not feeling lonely, but now the people that are now living in these environments, you know, if I saw one of them, I'm like, oh, that's the guy that was on Instagram that felt lonely.
He's feeling lonely now because he's living in that we live space.
Yes, he's been like pigeonholed into like that criteria.
The fights, I don't know. There's got to be some type of fights. Imagine if I lived with 20 strangers, 100% by day 2, I'm getting into a fight with somebody.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? So don't put your socks there. Why are your socks on the end of the couch? I don't understand why your dirty socks. Yeah. And why do you have white socks anyways? Like, shouldn't everyone have like black socks by now?
Oh.
It's like 2018. Like,
God.
What? Do you have white socks on? Don't tell me you have white socks on. Like, who buys white socks?
I got
white people. Nicole White buys white socks.
They're actually my son's socks.
That's absurd. Why are you buying your kids white socks? Nobody has white socks when you can have black socks.
All right, enough.
That's terrible.
I have white socks. Anyway.
That's a racket. All right, we're ending it there. That's just ridiculous. Don't buy white socks. Let's put an end to white socks.
Buy white socks.
Drop me a comment if you're wearing white socks, especially
white
the ones
socks
with like the red stripe around the top. See you guys.
Bye.